The MAGA movement is falling apart, and there's nothing that Donald Trump can do, because whether it be inside the White House, the halls of Congress, or across the country, Donald Trump has broken too many promises to too many people to see his coalition come together in the same way ever again. And his old buddy and new nemesis, and Elon Musk, is taking this as an opportunity to really poke at Donald Trump in a post that is showing just how bad the MAGA civil war that's happening right now is, and we are going to get into it all and what it means for Donald Trump. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into the post that Elon made further blowing up this MAGA civil war, I want to start with a war happening not in the White House, but in Congress, and Thomas Massie broke that all down on the issue of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Is it that Republicans fear Trump so much, but they agree with you privately? How they just talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. I don't think my colleagues are happy about covering up for pedophiles, but that's what's happening. And it's so sick and twisted. The reason they're doing it is because they're terrified of President Trump's political machine. Not just his legislative affairs folks are reaching out from the White House to every Republican member of Congress who might think about co-sponsoring this. They're getting calls from the political machine that Donald Trump runs. We've got members of Congress who have aspirations of running for statewide office, and they can't win a statewide office in a Republican primary with Donald Trump on the other side. So they're terrified of him. With three big exceptions, 3 women have co-sponsored this resolution: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace.
Why aren't they terrified of President
I
Trump?
think, number one, because they're women, they feel obligated to take up for the women who've been abused.
Donald Trump is a sick, depraved individual, and everything he did with Jeffrey Epstein should come to light, because I guarantee that in this instance, somehow, some way, the cover-up isn't worse than the crimes. That is why Donald Trump is doing everything he possibly can to hide the crimes he committed alongside Jeffrey Epstein. And that is a level of disgracefulness hard to beat, unless you're a MAGA Republican in Congress stooping to Donald Trump's level, bending the knee to him. If Donald Trump has reached a low in politics we never thought imaginable, then how low do you have to go to bend the knee to him and say, yeah, I guess we're covering this up for you? It is disgraceful. And to not believe the actions that you're taking, to be talking behind Trump's back to Thomas Massie about how angry you are with the way that your MAGA movement is going, just shows how pitiful and pathetic these people are. They talk about strength so much in MAGA, and they have none of it. They are afraid of a reality TV host and are unable to actually fight for anything, justice, decency, for victims to have their stories heard, and they just continue to bend the knee. Except for some examples in which they get pretty violent, which is the other MAGA civil war that triggered Elon's post. But first, we have to break it down. It was Scott Bessent. I'm going to punch you in your effing face. Scott Bessent threatens an administration rival. A private dinner attended by dozens of administration officials and close advisors to Donald Trump was temporarily marred by a dramatic clash between 2 of Donald Trump's top economic officials, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at one point threatening to punch top housing finance official Bill Pulte in the effing face. Amid the cocktail hour din, Bessent lashed out at Pulte in an expletive-laden diatribe. The Treasury Secretary had heard from several people that the Federal Housing Finance Agency director had been bad-mouthing him to Trump, a person close to him said. He wasn't about to engage in chit-chat as if nothing was amiss. "Why the F are you talking to the president about me? F you," Bessent told Pulte. So Republican members of Congress are talking behind Donald Trump's back. Members of Donald Trump's administration are talking behind each other's back. It is all a mess in MAGA world right now. And as that is the case, the man who caused the biggest mess we've seen in Donald Trump's presidency so far with one post claiming which seems like a truthful claim at this point, that Donald Trump was in the Epstein files, Elon Musk decided to insert himself in the conversation and have his own little bit of fun. Elon Musk posted the Politico story on Twitter and wrote, you might also remember Donald Trump saying this in response to a question about whether there was a fight between Elon Musk and Scott Bessent.
Did you ever see Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't.
And I tried to
They
ask...
did have an argument, but I didn't see I didn't see a lot of physicality there.
So it seems like, from my estimation, Scott Bessent just likes to get into fights, and all of these people are completely out of control, driven by emotion, rage, their own insecurity, and maybe shouldn't be holding the highest positions in our government. I don't like to see Elon Musk tweets come across my feed. This was a rare example. He's allowed at this point to poke fun at these people. It's just horribly embarrassing. And we talk so much about the very clear damage that Donald Trump has done to our country. But sometimes we also have to acknowledge the embarrassment factor. And I think that's so present in, of course, what is such a serious story in the cover-up of Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. But so much of this has also been just embarrassing. How stupid they think their own base is, how they can coerce and intimidate their Republicans in the House and in the Senate into just falling in line and telling the narrative. And in the most recent narrative, we've moved on from just saying that Donald Trump doesn't draw pictures as his defense against this birthday card. So that's not how he signs his name when the signature is so clearly his that Lawrence O'Donnell decided to give a little personal backstory on how he knows and can confirm that the signature that is Donald Trump's is in fact Donald Trump's. On the card, Donald Trump wrote to Donald Trump's best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. I think you know where I'm going with this. Lawrence broke it down right here.
Working for Donald Trump tells them to refuse to believe their eyes. And as I told Rachel, I have my own entry to offer in the Trump handwriting samples. In the second week of January in 2016, I got my one and only note from Donald Trump. It was a handwritten note, and he signed it, "Best wishes, Donald." Just the first name, just like the birthday letter. It was a very friendly note that I received from Donald, as he put it, Donald Trump. And it was almost generous, and I say almost generous because it included a contribution to my favorite charity. But the check Donald Trump sent me was from the Donald J. Trump Foundation, which we now know was operating so fraudulently that it is no longer allowed to operate in the state of New York and has been disbanded. The Donald J. Trump Foundation, according to an investigation by Attorney General Letitia James, was filled with money that did not come from Donald Trump. And so if Donald Trump made a rare contribution from the Donald J. Trump Foundation, it usually wasn't his money. The Trump check that he sent was for $10,000. It was from the Donald J. Trump Foundation. And on the show that night, I told the story of receiving the check from a presidential candidate and how surprised I was that it came from someone who up to that moment had been publicly attacking me for 5 years, first for calling him a liar in 2011 when he opened his mouth about President Obama's birth certificate, and many times after that. By the time Donald Trump's friendly note arrived with that check, he'd already called me in various tweets one of the dumber people on television, dopey, a fool, and many more such things. And back when I was accurately predicting the exact day when Donald Trump would announce that he was not running for president against President Obama in 2012, Donald Trump tweeted, "Lawrence will soon be off TV, bad ratings. He has a face made for radio." Donald Trump was actually privately urging NBC to get rid of me in those days. And so the friendly note came as a surprise in January 2016 from someone who I didn't know and who I believed hated me. And on the show that night, I read my response to Donald Trump about receiving that note. And I just said that I said in a letter to Donald Trump that I wrote on the show that I couldn't accept, of course, any kind of contribution or pass on any kind of contribution from a presidential candidate. Given that I report on presidential candidates, I asked him, "I hope you understand this predicament." And then, of course, I, in the end, said, in the meantime, because of because I was diverting this contribution, I myself would replace the Trump check with a $10,000 check of my own that I then gave to my favorite charity. And so here is tonight's entry in the Trump signature sweepstakes. This is a copy of what I sent. When he sent me this, we made a copy, but I sent this, put it back in the envelope it came in, and sent it back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump's note to me appears in the memo section of the check. And there is the signature to the note, which is just that word Donald. Just Donald, that very friendly signature. And then the full formal signature, Donald J. Trump, below that on the check. And so now, from this Donald right here, I'm going to lift this Donald right here, the one-word signature, and put it on the screen. It's going to appear on the screen below the signature that appears on the Epstein birthday letter. Now, obviously, they are different magnifications of those signatures and different thickness, possibly to the writing implement at the time. But you'll see all the basic shapes are exactly the same. All of the grand strokes are exactly the same. Those two signatures are more alike than any two exemplars of my signature, which varies day to day and signature to signature. But we will leave it to you, the handwriting experts in the audience, to make tonight's judgment about just how similar those strikingly similar signatures appear to be.
It is truly embarrassing how dumb MAGA thinks their own supporters are. That Donald Trump thinks that this lie, can get his crowd to fall back in line. And it certainly will with a lot of them. That is true. But not enough. Not enough to just simply move on. That's not going to happen for Donald Trump. And it's also not going to happen for the many MAGA Republicans who are in seats that aren't so safe come the midterms. Seats that Donald Trump has been trying to steal in Texas, in Missouri, in Ohio, in Florida. He needs those seats to continue to carry out his authoritarian takeover. Now, those people, if we see Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna's discharge petition get enough signatures so we see an up and down vote on the House floor, they will have to state their opinion on the record on the Epstein scandal. And I can promise you that will not be a vote they're excited about. Betray the dear leader or destroy your political career. Kind of either way, you're destroying your political career. It does not look good for MAGA. We're going to continue to talk about it on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.